celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life with Sterling Fox on AM 650.
Welcome back to the program. Nice to have you with us this morning. We're talking and having a fascinating chat with two of the co-founders of the Integrative Naturopathic Medical Center on West Broadway in Vancouver. By the way, the website is wonderful. It's integrative.ca. I recommend a visit. Lots of wonderful information there. Before we get back to our conversation about the pauses, where we were left off just before the break, I wanted to just pick up on something because Dr. Larry Chan and Dr. Eric Posen with us. Dr. Larry, you talked about, you were responding to a question about aging, and you referenced traditional Chinese medicine. And then Eric was talking, addressing the same topic, but addressed it from the perspective of naturopathic medicine. What, if any, is the difference between naturopathic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine?
I think you should start. Seeing that your last name is equivocal with traditional Chinese.
Well, Chan is a bit of a giveaway there, Dr. Larry.
It's funny because there was a couple of colleagues of ours, Jock and Ben, psychiatrists and a very well-known psychiatrist and well-known acupuncturist, going back 30 years now. It's a Chinese man and a Caucasian man, and of course everyone assumed that the Chinese man was the acupuncturist and the Caucasian medical doctor was the psychiatrist.
Sure,
it was the other way around.
Interesting,
and it blew everybody's mind
of
because
course.
Jock McKean was a acupuncturist and
Right.
Ben Wong was the psychiatrist. But it was an interesting aside. Traditional Chinese medicine is really based upon a paradigm of looking at the body from a standpoint of we talk about the acupuncture system where the meridians flow through the body and how it's very important to balance blood, qi, and the energy that flows through the body as a way of keeping the body healthy.
Okay.
And it's about body communication and the cellular communication, organ communication, to this network of channels through the body. And you can affect it by the emotional realm, biochemical realm, and the energetic realm by manipulation of these channels. And that's kind of what traditional Chinese medicine is. And we use a lot of herbal medicines in our pharmacopoeia for that, and in a way of balancing that. Now, naturopathic medicine is probably even broader than that from that standpoint.
Yeah, it starts from the same perspective, in that we're still working with the body's ability to heal itself, and we are working with the principles of balance within ourselves to be able to maintain that healing ability. But the history of both systems is radically different, I think, from where it all comes from. Traditional Chinese medicine is much older.
Of course,
obviously.
Right. Thousands and thousands
of years.
Right.
And the perspective of that culture is completely different from what the Western model is. And a perfect example would be in how you looked at the anatomical model in both systems. So if you were to, in Western medicine, you open a medicine book and you look at the body, and there's a person standing there. They're standing you face on,
right,
and their palms are facing you, and look at me. This is me standing erect. And then you have to look at another page to look at their back.
Right, exactly, right.
In traditional Chinese medicine, the anatomical position is a person on their hands and knees. Everything that faces the sky is related to heaven. That would be the yang element. Everything that faces the earth would be the yin element.
Oh, for goodness sake.
And it is dealing with the concept of the balance. You've probably heard the terms yin and yang.
Absolutely.
That's what it relates to.
Well, I'd never heard the story behind yin, and you'll pardon my saying yang, because that's the way I learned it, but that's the real story.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And that in and of itself talks about the differences in how two sides of the world look at bodies and spirits. There's commonality in naturopathic medicine, given what we've been talking about.
Of course, yeah.
But the perspectives are radically different. And so it's a separate course of study, traditional Chinese medicine, as opposed to going into the College of Naturopathic Medicine, and or rather learning naturopathic medicine and becoming accredited in that. But the tools that you come out with at either end, the therapies you could use interchangeably.
Interesting, huh?
So acupuncture and herbs can be used within naturopathic medicine. Detoxification procedures and nutritional supplementation could be used within traditional Chinese medicine.
So different disciplines with an awful lot of commonalities.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Can we get back to the pauses? We were talking about menopause and then the dreaded andropause, the guy portion of what happens to hormone loss at age, 50 generally?
Yeah.
It starts to go away?
50 is about right.
Okay. So what's the third? You said there was a third.
Okay, well, just before we leave, generally speaking, menopause, women worry about osteoporosis.
Right, okay.
Hot flashes, mood changes, weight gain, all those things. So we know that very well documented. Andropause, male menopause, around that time. The most common complaint we probably have men present is erectile dysfunction.
Oh, interesting.
And lack of libido. And so sex drive is an issue. So
and that's testosterone.
Testosterone is a large part of it, and other things we can do for that as well. So diagnosing that properly and treating it is not that difficult.
Okay.
And mostly men have to be able to admit the fact that they have that issue and have the confidence they can share that with us so we can help them with that process. Some of it's psychological as well, and much of stress and cortisol in the body can break that down and create problems as well.
Okay.
In fact, even men with andropause is the other thing that's worse is that as man hits around 60 years old, they actually have more estrogen in the body than they have testosterone, which is terrible because it shouldn't ever be that case.
Okay.
And the reason why testosterone's crashed
Yes.
in andropause, and the environmental toxins, pesticides, antibiotic residues from foods, plastics from microwave ovens, all those things are like estrogen mimickers. And they go into the body, and especially the fat layers of the body, and they become estrogen dominant. So men have those great man boobs, right?
Toxins in men become estrogen.
Men, and heavy and toxic metals are like estrogens as well.
Right.
So men have these figures where they're now heavier and with breasts, and it's all to do with excess estrogens. And they block more testosterone. So now the men really have a problem in terms of behavior, mood, sex drive, erectile function, everything else.
But again, when a man presents with this series of symptoms, Dr. Eric Posen, you've seen this a million times. So it can be remedied. This guy can have his life back if he makes a few modest changes.
There's the modest changes, and then there's the bigger changes. You're
Okay.
absolutely right.
Baby steps first. What's the modest change? What do you do first?
The modest change is probably, if you want the quick fix, then you would probably work with some kind of supplementation, either hormone supports or nutritional supports, to see if you can have a balancing effect in the chemistry that way.
Okay.
And depending on how well they've treated themselves over the years and don't have a lot of adaptation to the problems that they've incurred, that might be enough. Might be enough to do.
However,
but you can't disregard all the things we talked about at the beginning of the show, which is the common sense aspects to it. Exercise.
Right.
Exercise in and of itself is going to be enough to have a balancing effect on almost all the hormones in your body, your neurotransmitters, your muscle and your muscle tone, your body's ability to heal itself is all going to be supported by exercise. What kind of exercise? A minimum of 3 to 5 times a week of some kind of aerobic exercise.
Okay. That can be just a brisk walk, though, can't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't have to, stand on your head and perform tricks that even 20-year-olds have difficulties with. If you're a boomer, exercise, you don't have to watch those videos on TV. You kill yourself trying to keep up to some of those people.
Yeah, then we're going to be dealing with another problem altogether.
Big-time problems, yeah.
And the other thing about exercise is you should mix it up. You don't have to do the same routine all the time.
Right.
You can be running, you could be walking, you could be dancing, you could be doing Tai Chi.
Sure.
You could be doing Qigong. Every one of these things has their supportive effect. But the bottom line is you have to become active.
Right.
And you have to stay active. If you have a job where you're sitting 8 to 10 hours a day with minimal amounts of time getting up, you're dropping your lifespan by anywhere from 5 to 8 years.
If you don't balance it off with exercise.
Balance it off with moving.
Okay.
So when you go back to your questions, there's the little things and the big things.
Right.
And the other things that we can then incorporate into it would be diet, which we've talked about before. And then there's all the things that you can do for your brain. But that's a whole other topic, is how our brains age.
Right. Okay.
Now going back, exercise, specific exercises are also very enhancing for certain hormones as well.
Okay.
And that has to be
to promote the growth or
exactly.
Okay.
And naturally, the natural elevation of your own hormones.
Okay, tease us with the headline because we got to take a break. Menopause, andropause, and the third one
Third
is?
one is somatopause and electropause.
Oh, there are 4.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we'll cover both of those in one. Eric will cover that. So.
All right, well, we'll just take a quick break. Intergrative.ca, by the way, is the website for Integrative Naturopathic Medical Center at 1285 West Broadway. You might want to take an opportunity during this break to, you can keep the radio on and listen to the ads, but you can slide over to the computer and have a look at what these people are up to on a daily basis. More with our guests, Dr. Eric Posen and Dr. Larry Chan, after this quick timeout.
It's all about the baby boomer lifestyle. Boomer Life on AM 650.